our next case is about car sharing. Okay, so this is kind of typical and or popular in many cities. So we have bike sharing, we have motorcycles or scooter sharing, or we have car sharing. Anyway, they all try to solve one issue. So traditionally, if I need to rent a car, those car rental fees are charged by days. One of the reasons is that traditionally there must be some people or some staffs. They need to serve you. If you make a phone call to do some reservation, you need to leave your driver's ID information. And then if you go there, you need to check. They need to check your ID. They need to prepare documents, and you need to go back and get some kind of car check, and you need to pick up one, and then blah 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 blah. There are just so many things that they cannot do frequent transactions too much. But sometimes you just need car for a few hours, right? And if you just need a car for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, but you need to pay that for 24 hours, well, that does not make sense. So that's why some companies show up and say, let's try to solve this problem. So for example, Zipcar, one of the most famous car sharing company, is doing this. They say, let's use technology to provide you a better service. Let's do this by hour. So suppose you want to use Zipcar. First, you need to become a Zipcar member. When I was in the United States, you need to pay for each year $69, $89. And then you become a member, you get a card, and then every time when you need a car, you go and book. Zipcar tells you where may you find a car somewhere around you. You go there and use that card to open a door by yourself, and then you go there, the key is already inside. Zipcar, to do the business, they must first purchase a lot of cars, maintain them in good condition. Zipcar must also find many different places, many different parking lots, parking spaces, buy them, purchase them, so that they may distribute their cars onto these parking spaces. Okay? And then in that case, in some sense, these cars are shared by people in a city. So there are always so many people, they don't own a car, right? But they sometimes, infrequently, sometimes they need to use a car. So why don't they just share the cars provided by Zipcar? Okay, so that's the idea. Okay, so basically there are some other different companies trying to do the same thing. For example, in Taiwan, there's a company called iRent, pretty much doing the same thing. So here are some photo screenshots or photoshops for iRent. For example, if you take a look at iRent, you're going to see some parking spaces specifically owned by iRent. Okay, maybe rented from those landlords. And then you may go to their websites. I'm sorry, this website is in Chinese, but anyway, you may see that you go to the website and check a location near you, and Zipcar or iRent is going to tell you, okay, at this corner we have cars, at that corner we have cars, at this parking lot we have cars, and so on and so on. And also, when you comes to the website, you also see that there are several different types of cars. Okay, you have Yaris, you have Altis, and you have cars for 5 persons, 7 persons. I remember when I was in the United States, there was once I rented a pickup truck to help some of my friends moving their house. Okay, so there are some different kinds of car types for you to rent from. Okay, so that's iRent or Zipcar. So to solve the similar problem, there is another kind of company. Okay, for example, Relay Rides, or after many years later, they changed their name to Taro. So this company says that, okay, there are a lot of people who need a car temporarily, right? So there are some people, they don't have a car, and there are some people, they do own a car. Why not we make them meet each other and then try to share cars around them? Okay, if you don't have a car but you need the car for a while, I'm going to help you find someone who are willing to do that. Because if you own a car, in most cases, you don't drive them for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? There are case to case that your car is available to someone else. So if both of you agree, why don't you help each other? That's the idea, all right? So here are some screenshots. So for Taro. So for example, this is Berkeley, where I lived when I was in the United States. And then if you go to tell this website that you are around Berkeley, then the website is going to tell you that, okay, we have several car owners, they live around you and they have their cars available for you to consider. Maybe it's a BMW 3, maybe it's a Tesla 3, and you may also check their rating and the other informations. For example, for this BMW 3, you see that, oh, this guy is really awesome. There have been 72 trips. Everybody says it's awesome. There are some basic information regarding the car, regarding the owner. There is a price set by the owner, and you may book it. Or if you want, you may take a look at those reviews and see that, okay, the car is great, or the owner is great, and all the experience is great. That may strengthen your belief or your confidence about having a transaction here, right? Okay, so now here comes the issue. We have one type of company doing this kind of car renting service or car sharing service. They own the cars, they own those parking spaces, and they have people sharing with each other. That's one kind of company. Another kind of company, like Taro Relay Rides, what they do is that they serve as a platform. They let people find each other so that you may help them, they may help you by renting cars. All right? So Taro Relay Rides, they don't own any car. They don't own any parking spaces. They are just serving as a platform. So now the question is, which one of the type would be more promising? Okay? What does that mean? If you have $1 million, which one are you going to buy its stock? If you are going to start this business in a place that there's no such business, which one will you choose? Or, in some sense, if you consider them together competing in a city, which one do you think that will win? That's the question about promising, about the financial status, about their profitability. Okay, so again, 5 seconds, please think about this. Okay, so time's up. Now let me talk about something I have in mind. So the thing is that basically it depends, right? Both of them having something good and bad. Regarding Zipcar and iRent, the bad thing is that you need to do heavy investments, obviously. You need to spend a lot of money before you may earn some money. So investment, all right? But on the other hand, for relay rights, you don't need to pay a lot, just a website, a few persons, and then you may start to own to do your business. So in that case, Taro and the relay rights, they don't need to have a lot of investment at the beginning. Okay, so that's one thing that is obviously very good. But of course, regarding good things, you still have a lot of advantages of doing Zipcar or iRent. For example, typically for a consumer, it's easier to trust Zipcar and iRent regarding the car, and you don't need to worry about whether the owner will be a bad guy or something. All right? So consumers have more confidence on the product, or you may say the information asymmetry issue is not there. All right? So that's always the case. If you are thinking about quality, then it's always the case that being as a merchant is easier to deliver your quality signal to consumers. All right? That makes sense. Also, regarding Taro and relay rights, you may think about selection or diversity regarding the product supply. Diversity. If you think about Zipcar and iRent, there can be 5 types of cars, 7 types of cars, 10 types of cars. But if you want a place, a website with really a lot of wide selection and diversity of cars, obviously that's going to be thorough and relay rights. Okay, so pretty much it's always the case that if you are running an MSP, low investment, wide selection, that's always be benefits for running an MSP. To run a merchant, typically it's easier to have high confidence from consumers regarding your quality. Or sometimes you think about, for example, the pricing decision is up to you. And that may also be some kind of benefit if you want. All right, so which one really is more important is case by case. So for example, if you think about car sharing, well, having wide selection is good if you run MSP. But do you think this is really important regarding car sharing? I guess no. I guess for 90% or even 95% of consumers, their demands can be satisfied by iRent or Zipcar by just that 5 or 10 different types of cars. Because for most of the time, when you need a car for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, well, any car works. Alright? It's just for very rare situations that you need a very special car. So regarding car sharing, I don't think this diversity is a very important issue. If you are selling books like Amazon, then maybe this is an important issue because there are just so many different books. Different people, they enjoy different books, okay? People's preferences are so different. So if you are selling books, diversity is really important. But if you are selling, laptops, if you are selling smartphones, you don't need to have an MSP website to have million kinds of smartphones. You just need to be a merchant and prepare 100 or 200 different models of smartphones. That's enough for 99% of consumers, right? So whether diversity is really important is up to you. It's your judgment about whether this is really important. If you believe this is really important, be an MSP. Okay? On the contrary, whether the confidence on quality is really important is again up to you. You make the decision. So regarding cars, maybe you think it's important because you don't want to drive a car which may be broken. Okay? That's some issue. So take that into consideration. Also, I need to remind you one thing regarding something we have mentioned. This is to confirm you about that idea. Is what? Disintermediation. Okay, so disintermediation is that people may bypass you as a platform. So I guess you would agree that this is kind of possible. If today I work in the National Taiwan University, if Wednesday afternoon I need a car for maybe 2 hours or 3 hours, if I go and check on the website and search for some people who own a car and who don't need that car for 2 hours or 3 hours on Wednesday afternoon, it's kind of possible that both of us work in NTU or work around NTU. So it's kind of possible that if the next time I also need a car again, I'm going to find him or her directly because I have made a transaction with him or her. I return the car to him or her safely. I am satisfied with the car. So if we can do the transaction once, it's highly possible that we can do the transaction twice. All right. So again, I'm not saying that you cannot be thorough and be profitable. No, it's still possible. It's just that don't overestimate your potential. All right. Don't overestimate your potential. So those are the things that I want to say regarding this case.